The situation in the Middle East has been rather tense recently. Israel launched a missile attack in Tehran on senior Hamas official Haniyeh. Iran issued a 72-hour ultimatum, threatening to make Tel Aviv pay a bloody price. After that, the Iranian Ministry of Defense announced that the airspace near Tehran was an exercise-restricted zone and prohibited the filming of the movement of the military and missiles. Haizer M. al-Assad, a member of the military committee of the Houthi armed forces in Yemen, said, "Now the stupid enemy is looking at the sky, but has no idea what awaits them. With God's help, the volcano will erupt." Iran has mobilized missile forces nationwide, with at least 1,500 missiles ready to launch an attack. American media are discussing the recent sharp decline in the U.S. stock market, with trillions of U.S. dollars evaporated. In Israel, people are discussing that major airlines around the world have suspended Tel Aviv routes. The website of the Israel Airport Authority has collapsed, and Israel has also closed its airspace. In Iran, preparations are underway for a retaliatory strike against Israel, which is likely to be the largest, most complex and most powerful missile strike in the world. Messages from all sides are diverse regarding the number of missile drones. It ranges from several hundred to 1,500, but it is certain that all the information unanimously believes that the scale of this strike will surpass the missile and drone joint strike on April 13th, and may even be several times larger. With the hope of breaking the air defense systems of the U.S. and Israeli armies in one fell swoop, it needs to be emphasized that war often brings disasters and destruction. Peaceful settlement of disputes is the best way, that is in line with the interests of all parties and the development of mankind. In the military operation that Russia launched in Ukraine, usually dozens of missiles were used to carry out airstrike and destruction tasks, with a maximum of no more than 100 or so. However, this time, Iran's retaliatory action is expected to use at least hundreds of missiles, and may even reach 1,500 missiles for a joint strike. The forces of several countries such as Iran, Iraq, Palestine, Syria, Yemen and Lebanon, as well as local armed organizations, will all join the battle. There will not only be missile and drone raids, but also surprise sabotage operations by ground commandos, rockets and anti-tank missiles. This military operation will write a new chapter in the history of war and is full of expectations. It should be pointed out that what war brings is often huge destruction and pain, not something worth looking forward to. Peaceful settlement of disputes is the best choice, which can minimize casualties and property losses and promote regional stability and development. The USS Roosevelt aircraft carrier, amphibious battle group, Aegis-class destroyers and fighter squadrons of the U.S. military have all begun to arrive in the Middle East region. The USS Roosevelt aircraft carrier, as a powerful maritime combat force, has strong strike capabilities and combat command capabilities. Its carrier-based aircraft group can perform various tasks, including attacks on the sea and land, as well as seizing air supremacy. The amphibious battle group can carry out landing operations and power projection, enhancing the strategic mobility and combat flexibility of the U.S. military in the region. The Aegis-class destroyer, with its advanced air defense, anti-missile and anti-submarine capabilities, provides important defense guarantees for the entire fleet. The arrival of the fighter squadrons has further enriched the air combat forces and enhanced the U.S. military's ability to compete for air supremacy and conduct ground attacks in the region. There are also reports indicating that the U.S. B-1B Lancer strategic bombers have appeared at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Given that the B-1B has the characteristics of long-range strikes and large bomb payloads, if Iran and the resistance front attack U.S. military bases in the Middle East with missiles and rockets, the U.S. military is highly likely to carry out retaliatory strikes. This bomber can carry 84 Mk 80 to 500-pound low-drag general-purpose bombs or 140 for GBU-39 small-diameter bombs. Meanwhile, the Israeli army is intensifying its airstrikes and ground attacks on the Gaza Strip, according to reports from the Russian satellite network. The news office of the Israel Defense Forces claimed that the Israeli Air Force launched airstrikes against 35 Hamas and Jihad armed strongholds, military facilities, and ammunition depots in the Gaza Strip within 24 hours of one day and night. Such high-intensity military operations have brought tremendous destruction to the Gaza Strip. Many innocent civilians may be harmed as a result, and civilian infrastructure may also be severely damaged. Such military strikes not only fail to fundamentally solve the problem, but may further intensify the contradiction, further exacerbating the tense situation and humanitarian crisis in the region and triggering more intense resistance and conflicts. The international community generally calls on Israel to exercise restraint, follow international law and humanitarian principles, and resolve disputes through peaceful negotiations. According to news from Hamas, the Israeli army launched a tunnel raid operation in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli army discovered this secret hidden stronghold based on intelligence in the tunnel. The Israeli army killed two senior Hamas officials. One was the Hamas financial leader Mushti Haha and the other was the Hamas internal security leader Sila Jdin. Both of these individuals were hawkish figures of Hamas and belonged to the hardliners. Additionally, the Israeli army also killed 3 military commanders of the Qassam brigade. According to Iran's warning, tonight is the final moment of the 72-hour deadline. Iran may launch a large-scale strike tonight. The approaching of the 72-hour final moment set by Iran has made the regional situation increasingly tense and full of uncertainties. If Iran launches a large-scale strike tonight, it will trigger extremely serious consequences. A large-scale missile strike may cause huge damage to Israel's military facilities and important infrastructure, resulting in a large number of casualties and property losses. Of course, Iran may also wear down Israel a little longer, make Israel tense for a few more days, or even a few more weeks, and then suddenly launch a large-scale missile strike. This strategic waiting can put more psychological pressure on Israel, causing it to consume more resources and energy during the long period of tension and unease. Time is on Iran's side. The resistance front established by Iran has 7 major armed forces. Iran is very clear that it is impossible to destroy Israel with one wave of missile strikes. Iran intends to wear down Israel through the 7 major armed organizations and continuously attack Israel. Eventually, it will force foreign capital, technology enterprises, financial capital of Israel, and even the Jews of Israel to evacuate completely. If Iran conducts a comprehensive attack on Israel, it will fall into a trap. The United States and Israel have always maintained a high degree of vigilance and hostility towards Iran. Once Iran takes large-scale and comprehensive attack actions, they are likely to use this as an excuse to launch a large-scale counterattack against Iran, including destroying the infrastructure that Iran has built over the years. Therefore, this round of missile strikes is a beginning, and the subsequent long-term remote-guided weapon harassment warfare may be a more strategic choice. This way can continuously exert pressure on Israel while avoiding excessive intensification of contradictions and triggering a full-scale counterattack from the United States and Israel. There are news reports indicating that the Lebanese Hezbollah, with 100,000 armed forces, is conducting a comprehensive large-scale evacuation in Beirut and the southern region. A large number of armed forces and materials have all entered the mountain tunnels, and missiles and rocket launchers have been urgently relocated. This indicates that when facing the possible upcoming complex situation, they have adopted a strategy of preserving strength and preventing strikes. On the one hand, it is for combat, and on the other hand, it is also to avoid retaliatory strikes from Israel. Iraqi Prime Minister Soudani also said that due to the possibility of major conflicts, Iraqi military units have been on alert. This large-scale evacuation and transfer also reflects the extreme tension and uncertainty of the situation. This may cause panic and unease in the surrounding areas and have an impact on the stability of the region. The spokesperson of the Israel Defense Forces, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said, "The Israeli army has an extremely excellent defense system. In addition, international partners have dispatched troops to the Middle East to assist Israel in dealing with various threats. However, the effectiveness of the defense system may be tested when facing large-scale and high-intensity attacks." The Times of Israel reported that the spokesperson of the Israel Defense Forces, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, acknowledged that Israel's defense is not impenetrable. However, the Israel Home Front Command has been on high alert, although the forces led by the United States have reinforced Israel, which has enhanced Israel's military strength to a certain extent. It may also cause concerns and dissatisfaction from other countries in the region, further intensifying the regional tense situation. Dozens of F-35I fighter jets of the Israeli Air Force have appeared at the Nevatim Air Base in southern Israel. They are ready to take off at any time to intercept missiles and drones and may even launch counterattacks against targets in Syria, Lebanon, Iraq and even Iran. At the same time, the Israeli military issued an order requiring all chemical plants in Israel to stop transportation. Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces issued a warning that if Israeli civilians are harmed in the Iranian missile and drone attacks, the shackles will be removed. The Israeli army will carry out comprehensive retaliatory actions. However, such a warning is bound to bring negative consequences. Comprehensive retaliatory actions often mean larger-scale conflicts and more casualties. It forms a vicious circle and causes more suffering for innocent civilians. Such a tough attitude may further intensify the contradiction between the two sides and reduce the possibility of resolving disputes through peaceful negotiations. This time, it mainly depends on Iran's determination. In the continuous attacks in recent years, the United States and Israel have figured out Iran's bottom line. That is, only letting proxy forces charge ahead, while Iran itself hides behind and dares not confront directly. If Iran continues to retreat like this, it will be in a very unfavorable situation one day. The resistance front may no longer obey Iran's command, causing the Middle East to fall into chaos again. If Iran wants to lead the Middle East region, it must have the willpower and courage to engage in a full-scale war. Deterrence relies on real strength. If Iran shrinks back and dares not attack, or dares not conduct large-scale operations, then its strategic deterrence ability will be shaken. And the unity of the resistance front will also be affected if Iran fails to avenge the assassination of Haniyeh in Tehran. Then it should not mention the so-called resistance front anymore, nor should it dream of expelling the U.S. military in the Middle East, let alone attempt to compete for a major country status. Then everyone will think that in Iran, Israel can kill whoever it wants. They might even think that the Iranian supreme leader is still alive only because of the mercy of the Israeli Mossad intelligence agency, and that he can be killed at any time if they want. If it really becomes like this, there is no qualification to talk about any strategy. Do you think so? In this way, Iran undoubtedly has completely exposed its outwardly strong but inwardly weak nature. In the Middle East, to gain a foothold, one must have strength. Without strength, what qualification does Iran have to conduct balanced diplomacy among China, the United States, Russia and Europe? Actually, I personally think that Iran is very weak and very faubering. At least 3 presidents, 8 generals and 6 nuclear scientists have been assassinated, and Iran has remained indifferent. Do you think it will go to great lengths for a Hamas leader this time? This logic is a bit ridiculous. Just as netizens have said, if there are no surprises, 1,500 warheads will land in the uninhabited areas of the Promised Land. And then the descendants of the Chosen Ones will make a symbolic counterattack. And China, the United States and Russia will come forward to exchange greetings. And that's it.